Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
You all right?
I am absolutely fantastic and ready to roll. You had other issues to chew on before we
got you. These two had to hear about the drive-in. We haven't even gotten there. Do you slam on the brakes the instant the light turns yellow?
No, I don't. No.
But the jackass in front of me did. I'm like, 5 of us are going through this yellow. This guy pounds the brakes.
I'm stunned you had a traffic-related irritation.
You can't drive anywhere out south here, and maybe this is everywhere in this town right now, which, I get it. I want good roads and all that. And for the guys working the roads, I love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I understand everybody's trying to, but right now, it's like there's been no thought put to, there's no alternative route.
No. And 119th.
And 135th, 135th or Jack.
But 119th
they made up for it by
with no
blowing up
construction.
69.
119th with no construction.
It's terrible.
It is bad at its best.
Right.
I'll see your 119th and raise you 135th.
Oh, I was actually headed over to Joe Spiker's to hang out and do a little thing we do and a podcast thing and the other day, and I take my usual right onto Antioch to go. Actually, I go to Santa Fe Liquors as our beer sponsor for that thing, and so it's impassable. And then they send you around somewhere else. It's way, and then you get spit out onto Milburn Golf Course, and of course, you can't go through Milburn Golf Course. It's a big golf, so you got to go around that. I mean, it took a 12-minute drive and turned it into 32.
Well, I forgot where I was going now.
I can't wait to head up to St. Joe next week because Lebo says there's a detour. You get off and go to the west side of St. Joe.
I think he said today. I think I heard him say that it's open.
Back?
Allegedly, that was supposed to be done today.
I think it's open today. He said it was open today
because they want me to go, and I wasn't going. It's open. All right, Lebo says it's open.
He did. I heard him say that. Yes.
Yeah, so I got good friends up in St. Joe. I got to get up there.
Well,
I got to be there, man.
It's a right. It's a rite of summer. Many a night was spent at the Stony Creek Inn for me.
Yeah,
and I go to the Joe.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? Danny Unleashed, by the way, with Danny Clinkscale. I don't think I ever actually introduced you. Brought to you by the aforementioned Easton Roofing. Joe Spiker, the fine proprietor of Easton Roofing. By the way, getting a call from a buddy of mine. A big tree fell on the house, and he will be calling. He said, "Yes, I need his number." I'm like, "You listen to the show?" He goes, "I never miss it." And you've never heard me say, "Joe, well, I didn't need it then."
Yeah.
I need it now. So let me tell you, 913-257-5426. 913-257-5426. You don't need it right now.
Yeah,
put it in your phone anyway.
We got a little leak we need
Easton
checked
Roofing.
out, and he'll come out and probably say, "Hey, you don't really need roofing, maybe just a little patch." But we've got an issue right now, and nobody I'd rather turn to make sure that you're not going to get a brand new roof when you don't need it.
He'll check Danny's little leak, and he'll check Danny's roof too.
I have somebody else for that.
They'll even carry the puppy.
Easton Roofing. That's right. Danny did carry the puppy. Don't forget about that. EastonRoofing.com. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. They're KC's best. Locally owned and operated. It is just a fantastic operation. I can't recommend them highly enough. So check it out. If you're a property manager, Easton Roofing offers turnkey solutions for everything you might need. Parking plans, schedule, a safety plan, warranty expectations up front. There's no guessing with Easton Roofing. Find them online right now at eastonroofing.com. I do get why my friend couldn't look it up himself because it's a really difficult website. eastonroofing.com. I don't know how you couldn't Google that. Couldn't back ass into that, could you? Knew the name of the place, no idea about the number. How do you today not find a phone number? Is Google a mystery to some still?
It can be.
I don't there's precious little excuse for not knowing where you're going to go, or anything research wise. I think sometimes people just like the interaction. Like my sister and I text a lot about soccer. Sister who lives in Massachusetts, and she'll ask me some rudimentary questions that could easily be Googled. But I think she just wants to engage with me, Is so-and-so hurt this week for, Everton? Or I'm like, well, I'll do it. I'll do the work. I like my sister.
I'll look it up so you don't have to. And then
right.
You get the answer 2 minutes after you could have gotten it if you had done it yourself.
All right, can we talk Chiefs?
Sure, let's talk Chiefs. Hot fun in the summertime. Best shape of my life. Throw up in a bucket. Who's the training camp sensation who won't make the team? Want me to cover all the hits?
Who looks good?
So, no, I don't want to talk Chiefs? Is that what I'm hearing there?
No, I absolutely. The Chiefs are the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. They can go to Quick Trip and people are interested. So, yes, of course I'll talk about the Chiefs.
Okay.
They warrant the attention, but...
And we'll double back perhaps to Mark Donovan's comments today, but I want to talk the actual football part of it for the Chiefs. I want you to hear this. I heard this cut. I did not hear it live. I heard it on the Zone with Jason Anderson and Sterling Martin. No, that's a joke. Sterling Holmes. Sterling Martin's a NASCAR driver, Curtis,
yes.
just to keep you up to date with the joke. But this was Chris Russo. I think on First Take is where it came from. The show First Take on ESPN, and they were talking about will the Chiefs three-peat? Are they picking the Chiefs to three-peat?
I would not, only because I think it's so difficult to win the three. And by the way, I think Lombardi's Packers, when they won the three straight in 65, 66, 67, are better. We'll get to that in a minute. But think about it last year with the Chiefs. They could have lost in Buffalo. He missed a field goal.
Yeah.
If he completes a 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9, Allen, they win the game probably in the end zone with a touchdown. Zay Flowers fumbles at the goal line in the Raven game. Who knows?
Yep.
And remember, if Purdy completes a pass on 3rd and 5 in the regulation, they don't come back and win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the Chiefs get a 4th and 2 in overtime. So they played 3 playoff games last year where, let's face it, and I know he's great and I love him more than anybody, they could have lost either one of those 3 games. They could have lost to Buffalo, they could have lost to Baltimore, and they really should have lost to San Francisco.
But did they win?
They did. But eventually you're going to lose a game like that when you continually play these kind of close games. Eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Several things to unpack there. One, you don't love him more than anyone else. Let's be clear.
Not as long as I'm alive.
There's about 2 million people in Kansas City that are all in front of you. So settle down.
And also, I don't know why he said, don't give me the caveat. He clearly the man roots for one of the New York teams.
I know he's a San Francisco Giants baseball fan.
Well, that sounds odd.
Well, because he's from New York, but his family grew up as New York Giants fans.
Well, that makes some sense.
They stayed loyal to that. I think he's a New York Giants football fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
He's not a Jet. That's Mike Greenberg.
Yes.
Which it is amazing. Like ESPN has decided we're just going to openly root for New York teams to try to get as many New York viewers / listeners as we can. Because the Screaming A. Smith babbling on about the Knicks trade on Twitter.
ESPNY.
Yeah. It is. It's staggering. But anyway, I want to cover because there's nothing wrong with his logic.
No.
Right? If we were talking about they have one more game to play with last year's team. And one of the things I've noticed about him, and he is a Hall of Fame broadcaster, one of the flag bearers of this industry, and I will always respect the great work that man has done. Okay, so I'm not running him down as like some idiot. But he's kind of settled into this. We're talking about today, and I'm going to reference something, and I'm sure he did get into the Packers, because I was driving somewhere and listened. I was out of town and listened to satellite radio, and he was on, and he was just going, he was like, oh, yeah, that's the best. It's like, rattling off linebackers. It was a conversation about today, some linebacker today, and he started going through Bobby Bell, and, and I'm like,
no.
Yes, you know the names. I mean, Okay, like but it's not pertinent to what's happening now.
No.
So he's kind of gotten into this rut.
It's fun
of,
when we do trivia or something.
Yes,
When we come back with an
trivia,
end of the hour question. That's fun. It's fun to reference it, but
right.
it doesn't have anything to do with today.
And he's knowledgeable. And listen, you heard him rattle off, specific situations each one of the games. He watches the games today. I'm not accusing him of not. I just don't know why he there's nothing about the 60s Packers that has literally anything to do with the Chiefs other than they did win 3 NFL titles in a row.
Right.
1 NFL title and then 2 Super Bowls. 3 NFL titles. The NFC Championship game was the NFL Championship game there for the first 2. So they won 3. That's it. They're the last NFL franchise to win 3 titles in a row. Here ended the comparisons. The game is so amazingly different today that it's not even funny. And so, but I want to bring back, his logic is correct. If you can't put some people away, like the recipe to win a championship is not to win 4, not 3, 4 playoff games. Screw around or not be good enough to get the bye, have to play the extra game, and then barely win them all. Mm-hmm. That's nobody's blueprint.
No.
Right?
But the Chiefs have been pretty darn good at it.
They have been. And if there was somebody
6 of their last 7 postseason wins have come by 1 score.
Yeah. And
in games that they trailed.
But I do want to point out that's also more of what today's game is. Like the 51 to the Niners over Broncos, the
55-10, that doesn't
Commanders
happen.
over Broncos, the Bears over
everyone
Pats.
over Broncos.
That's not today's NFL. Today's NFL is more like basketball. They're going to score. The other team's going to score, right? You're going to have to score. Like nobody just wallops anybody. For the most part, certainly not. 1 or 2 out of all the playoff games are just beatdowns.
Last
maybe?
3 Super Bowls have been decided by 3 points.
All the Patriots Super Bowls, every one of them, whether they won or lost, was a 1-score game, except for the one against the Rams, which was 6-3 with like 3 minutes to go.
Yes.
It ended up being 13-3 final because they finally punched one in. So, like, that you're missing the point that all the games are close. So you have to win close games.
That's true. But the only caveat I'll make to that is that along the way, you probably should be putting some away.
Agreed. And they didn't do that last year, which is why I come back to evaluate the Chiefs this year. Are they better or worse than they were last year? Because to me, last year was the year to get them. Mm-hmm. And they didn't.
Right.
The Ravens didn't do it. They spit the bit. The Texans weren't ready. They couldn't get by the Ravens to get there to get to them. This year, they're not going to be as good on defense. One, defense is a regression to the mean game. If you're god-awful, you probably get a little better. If you're great, you probably get a little worse. Bill Belichick's the one guy that seems to be able to defy that year after year after year. So just normalcy. And they're not quite as deep. Losing Snead, they're not quite as good at the top, but they still have great depth. But, losing Gay, Chenal's now on the field. If they lose somebody else, we're down to like Jack Cochran. And so I don't think they're going to be quite as good defensively. Amenahu's hurt to start the year. So I'm with that. But can we agree with this? If they got it right with Xavier Worthy. Let's say Hollywood Brown has more to give, but just hadn't had the quarterback to allow him to do it. God forbid that's right? And I know I'm going to give you, so there's one if, but they've got 2 answers for that one if. The other if, and they've got kind of 2 answers on this, but I didn't see enough out of Wanya Morris to call him an answer. If Suamataia is the answer at left tackle, they're definitively better. That was their problem, was scoring. And now they're going to stretch the field. They still have the underneath guys. Barring a massive wave of injuries, on paper, where it counts, this team's better.
They are better. Every time you say, is somebody going to win the NFL championship,
you should vote no.
You should vote. You should vote no.
The favorite is 6.
Right.
6 out of 7 times they don't win it.
Right. The answer should be no. Any team will so and so win with Super Bowl this year? No. That's your answer. That's the answer that makes sense because it's hard. But I don't think winning a 3rd one in a row is any harder than just winning one. I don't.
Right.
I don't think so.
You don't think there's a mental side? You don't think the grind of 2 long seasons, 2 short off seasons starts to add up?
No, because I've seen